Good evening, everyone. By my watch, it is time to get started with our midweek service tonight. Just a couple of announcements before we get started. First of all, an update to our prayer list. Donna Sadowski's mom was hospitalized this weekend and is now at a skilled nursing facility with heart and respiratory issues. So if you would please keep that family in your prayers as they go through that. Just some general announcements. First off, the VBS planning meeting has been moved to Sunday, February 19th. So if you are interested in working with us for VBS, please be here on Sunday, February 19th. Also, this upcoming Sunday night, there will be no evening services this Sunday. So there will be no Sunday evening services. Also, we found a Honda key fob if you are missing one. So check with Diane. We've already tried to steal the car, so you're good there. Just come if you're missing a fob. For the youth class tonight, your teacher is sick, so you are going to be in with us at the university room. So make sure to report to the university room for Bible class tonight. Speaking of our Bible classes, tonight's classes in the university room, we are going through the prophets taught by myself. In the auditorium, there is a study of Nehemiah taught by Greg Giltner, and in the multipurpose room, a class on discipleship, raising our faith ceiling, taught by Mark Green. So if you're interested in any of those classes, please stick around with us so you can attend one of those. Tonight, our opening prayer is going to be led by Jonathan Jessup. Our songs are going to be led by Stuart England, and I'll have some devotional thoughts for you. Let's go ahead and get started.
Well, if y'all know me, you know when I get to lead singing on short notice, this is going to be one of them. Let's sing together. Oh, worship the King of glorious love, and gratefully sing His wonderful love. Our shield and defender, the ancient of days, pavilion in splendor, and girded with praise. Thy bountiful care, what tongue can recite? It breathes in the air, it shines in the light, it streams from the hills, it descends to the plain, and sweetly distills in the dew and the rain. Frail children of dust, and feeble as frail, in thee do we trust, nor find thee to fail. Thy mercies how tender, how firm to the end. Our Maker, Defender, Redeemer, and Friend.
Please bow and pray with me. Dear God, thank you for this night that you've given us to assemble before you and worship you. Thank you for all the many blessings you have given us, family, friends, teachers, colleagues. Help us as we go through tonight that we focus and set our minds on you. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
You want to go ahead and mark the song of invitation out in your book. That'll be number 902. I think it'll be on the screen as well. And our song before the devotional thoughts this evening will be I Love to Tell the Story. I love to tell the story of things of Jesus and His glory, of Jesus and His love. I love to tell the hungry and thirsty to hear it like the rest. And when it seems of glory, I sing the new song. Will be the old story that I have lost so long. I love to tell the story. Will be my needed glory to tell the old story of Jesus and His love.
Good evening again. One of the youth group's favorite jobs that I have given them is ego checker. In case I sometimes get too big for my britches, the youth group is in charge of giving me an ego check. And many times they will do this just by telling embarrassing stories about me that have happened throughout my ministry, and there are many. But one in particular they tell a lot, and I think is their favorite, is one we were at an area-wide teen gathering. We were at another congregation. We had just finished worship, and we were sitting at a table. Well, they were sitting at a table eating dinner, and I was standing. And we were talking and having a great time, and it was great. And then an older woman from the congregation that we were at came up behind me, put her arms on my shoulders, and said, "Well, do we need to get you a chair, little buddy?" Clearly thinking that I could not be more than 13. And I turned around, and in my deepest voice, I was like, "No, thank you, I'm okay." And why I tell you that story is that if you look hard enough, you can find a little bit of spiritual application that goes along with that story. Because you can ask yourself, okay, why did that woman, best intentions, why did that woman think that I could have been a middle schooler? Why did that woman think I might have been in the youth group? Because I look like one. Because I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I don't have a bushy beard. I think I have innocence still in my eyes. And so they think that I am a middle schooler. I fit into the crowd because I look like one. If you have your Bibles tonight, our text for this evening is going to be 1 Peter chapter 1, starting in verse 13. It says, "Therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope on the grace that will be brought to you as the revelation of Jesus Christ as obedient children. Do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance, but as He who called you is holy, you also be holy in your conduct. Since it is written, 'You shall be holy, for I am holy.'" In that passage, Peter uses the word holy a lot. And as most people will define holy, it means to be set apart, that there is nothing like it. That's why God is the holiest of holies, because there is nothing like him in this universe. He is morally perfect. There's nothing that can compare to him. And then 1 Peter's message to new Christians is, now be holy like he is. First of all, a tall order. But second of all, I can't help but think of the phrase set apart. We are supposed to be different than the people around us. And I would challenge you to look at your life, and if you were to be put into a group of maybe your coworkers or just people in a grocery store, if you were to be put in that group, would someone on the outside be able to pick you out of a crowd as different? Would they be able to pick you out and say something is different about them? Their faith changes the way they are. Do people say that about you? That you are different because of your faith? You are set apart from those around you. Tonight, my challenge for you is to think about that as we go throughout this week. Are you setting yourself apart from those without faith? Or do you look like just another middle schooler in the crowd? Tonight, if you have a need, I would urge you to come forward. If you need the prayers of this congregation, or if you would like to start your journey with Christ through baptism, we'd love to do that for you as we stand and sing this song.
What can wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. For my pardon this I see. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. For my cleansing this my plea. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Nothing can force it atone. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Not a good that I have done. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. You're dismissed your class. Thanks, Tracy. -4 and 20 degrees.
No, it was -4 and 20 inches. Other than that, it was a great trip. Did you see who's at the back? See who's at the back? I brought Junior today. You can go back, say hi to him. Yeah, the trip to, I appreciate the prayers for the trip to South Dakota. Most of the time I was there, it was -4. They already had 19 inches on the ground, and it snowed while I was there. So they do a little better job of cleaning the roadway than Norman and Oklahoma City do. We get a skiff here. When I say a skiff, you know, a skiff shuts down school. He's got that in his attic from a crack in the ceiling, you know. But I would never be able to do this in Oklahoma. I got to run a snow blower. I mean, I was like Tim the Toolman Taylor for just a minute. He's out there running that thing, and I'm like, that looks pretty fun, you know. Now, when it becomes work, it's not fun. But I've never even seen a snow blower in Oklahoma, right? So I step outside, and at that point, it was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 degrees, so it had warmed up quite a bit from the -4. But I put some coveralls on and went out there, and man, there's just something about this machine that's got a big auger in the front of it. And as soon as you hit the handle and it kicks on, oh, this power. Kind of like your car, a V8, you know. But I made a couple laps up and down the sidewalk and thought, okay, I'm good. Him being the preacher in the neighborhood, he goes down the block, and the people next door don't have one, so he does their driveway. And so I come back, and I think I've done a good job getting the sidewalk cleared out. He goes, I normally do their driveway, Dad. So you want me to do that? Well, I'm going to go back he had about 3 foot of snow on his roof. And he was trying to get it off from using something from ground level, but it wasn't working, so he had to get a ladder and climb on top. And I thought, you're 35. If you fall, you can recover. A broken hip's a death penalty for me. I am not going to do that. So while he was up on the roof, I did the neighbor's drive. Probably not as good as he did, because I had to learn the auger. You have to turn the auger when you turn the other way, because if you blow it in the street, you get a citation. I didn't realize that. You're supposed to blow it into your own front yard. So I learned a few things about Sioux Falls. It's a scam. I'll tell you this, it's a scam. They, after a snow, you have 24 hours to clear your sidewalk. You got 24 hours after it snows to clear your sidewalk, or they give you a citation. So Clint goes out of a morning and clears the sidewalk. So, and then when he gets back, he drops the boys off at school, comes back home to get his stuff, and the city truck with the snow plows come through and put it all back over. That's every day. So he has to go back and run it one more time, you know. And I thought, well, that's the way the city gets their money. You did it, but you don't know they anyway. It's why I live in Oklahoma. I'm trying to find them. I told him, I said, there's some preaching jobs that are open in Oklahoma, son. But he likes South Dakota. That church, when he moved out there, the church had split 50, 60 years ago. And after he got hired at the one church, his brother-in-law got hired at the other church. And father-in-law is an elder, so you kind of knew what was fixing to happen. So 2 years ago, they merged, which very seldom happens in churches anymore. But that church merged, and so now it's one bigger church, and it's called the Sioux Falls Church of Christ. So anyway, he's doing real well there. But anyway, Jerry, thanks for that, because the prayers worked. Had no trouble getting there, no trouble getting back. It's just while I was there, it was cold. I wanted to make sure I didn't fall down. We're going to be in Nehemiah chapter 7. And we've got 2 more weeks, but there's 13 chapters. So broke it up this way. Chapter 7, what we're going to see tonight, the wall's finished. The gates are hung. Nehemiah, from what we saw in chapter 1 to when he gets bad news from his brother to where we are in chapter 7. The wall's completed, and he's going on to the next phase where now that we have the wall completed, we've got homes inside this area that haven't been completed now. So as we read the chapter, you'll see that the area of Jerusalem there is very large. You're going to look at the exiles that he names. We'll read that list. The exiles that he names in the vicinity of 42,000, and then you have about 7,400 servants that are in that area. So you have a very large area, but a very small population coming back into it. It's very important for Nehemiah to have this wall built so they can get back to their worship. Well, the first couple times I read this, I just read the chapter and I'm like, oh, this is half the chapter's full of names that I can't even begin to pronounce. And then I look at it and I'm thinking, what is the significance of that? Why are these names listed? Why are there animals listed? 6,900 donkeys and Gus, donkeys and mules are listed separate. So I guess there's a priority between the donkeys and the mules. So they even list the animals separately. And as I get into this, the exiles that come from Babylon back to Jerusalem, that was God's bridge, if you will. That was the people that was moving back into Jerusalem to rebuild. That was where it was going to start new. So when we get into chapter 7 tonight, we're going to see at the very start of it, it talks about the wall being completed, and he starts naming people to have some duties. Some of those duties are watchmen, guardsmen, people. We now have this wall built, and the purpose of the wall was so when they come in, they can now worship. They can, because keep in mind, it's been in ruins for years, and they haven't been able to worship freely. They've been slaves, if you will. Now the wall's built. They got a safe place to worship. It mentioned singers, and I'm like, what on earth do you mention 245 singers or whatever? They hadn't been allowed to do that in exile. That was something they couldn't do. So the singers part, if the worship service, if you will, the singer part was very important to them to help build upon the worship that we'll see toward the end of the chapter. Encouraging worship. We start off with the first of the chapter 7 here. They're talking about completion of the wall, and he's naming these duties for the city people to do. And then by the end of it, now we need to encourage worship. If you just stop and think where we are thus far, he's come in to Jerusalem. He's started rebuilding this wall. He's now hung the gates. The gates are done. We know about the conflict with the neighboring governors. That's not mentioned in here at all. They're not mentioned here at all because now the wall's up. Now he wants to focus on the inside. He wants to focus on the people. Let's get back to what God wants us to do, worship him. So that's going to be our focus tonight, is watching him bring the people together. Keep in mind, it was very fragmented early on. There was people scattered, and there still is to a certain degree, because these homes, not only was the wall in ruins, so were the homes that were in there. So the homes haven't been rebuilt either. And as we mention, as we go through this list of names, and you'll see families and clans and sons of all that stuff, they're assigned to the section where they will live, and then they're responsible for that section of the wall, if that makes sense. Now he has guards assigned to watch the wall to make sure the enemy doesn't come in, but he also makes it personal to the families. The families that are living within the walls have their own area that they need to help with. So we'll go ahead. If I can get somebody to read the first part of the chapter, let's say Go to verse 7. Get somebody to read 7 through 7. There's no hard names in that one. Yeah, verses 1 through 7.
Now it came about when the wall was rebuilt, and I had set up the doors, and the gatekeepers, and the singers, and the Levites were appointed, that I put Hanani, my brother, and Hananiah, the commander of the fortress, in charge of Jerusalem, for he was a faithful man, and feared God more than many. And I said unto them, do not let the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun is hot. While they are standing guard, let them shut and bolt the doors. Also appoint guards from the inhabitants of Jerusalem, each at his post, and each in front of his own house. Now the city was large and spacious, but the people in it were few, and the houses were not built. Then my God put it into my heart to assemble the nobles, the officials, and the people to be enrolled by genealogies. And I found the book of the genealogy of those who came up first, in which I found the following record. These are the people of the province who came up from the captivity of the exiles, and Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away, and who returned to Jerusalem, Judah, each to his city. Who came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ramiah, Nahamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Asperith, Bigvai, Nehum,
And I didn't lie to you on purpose. It's just a few names. Yeah, wait till I get to the next 60 verses. Thanks, Jerry, for reading that. You see early on in these first 7 verses what I described. He's talking about the wall. He names his brother Hanani as an important person, and Hananiah as an important person. He's a co-leader, if you will, of Jerusalem. I'll go ahead and stumble through these names. I say stumble through them. Originally, I thought, I'm not going to even stumble through those and read them. But they're listed. They're not only listed in this chapter, they're listed in Ezra. So 2 chapters of the Old Testament, Ezra and the book of Nehemiah, these names are listed. Now, I'm not reading 42,000 names. It gives me names and families and numbers. Okay, so we're not reading 40. So the more I thought about it, I thought, it's important enough for Nehemiah to put it on paper, if you will, because genealogy, keep in mind, for us in modern town, in modern cities, we're a melting pot. Everybody's welcome to come in. Norman, we have all type of ethnicity. Oklahoma City, all type of ethnicity. This group, genealogy was everything to them. They had to prove their genealogy. They had to prove their ancestry, if you will, because it came with rights. It came with things. So genealogy was imperative for them. So the more I studied, the more I read, even though I'm not going to pronounce these names right, it was important that they're named. Nehemiah goes and finds this list. Now, for those of you that look at both lists, there's going to be some differences. And it's not that one, Ezra, didn't do anything wrong. Nehemiah didn't do anything wrong. What I can figure out just by looking at commentaries, Ezra lists his people that he knew by genealogy. Nehemiah has listed them. There's some names that are very similar in spelling, and those might have got mixed up. So keep in mind, it's really not the fact that you read Ezra and Nehemiah and it matches exactly. But bring that over to the 4 Gospels. We can read an account that happened in Matthew and an account that happened in Mark, and it has some differences in it. Doesn't mean that one is not telling the truth. It means from their perspective what they saw, what they heard. So for those of you that go back and look at the genealogy list in Ezra, it's tweaked just a little bit different, but to me that doesn't matter. It's all about It's all about the names and the significance of it. So I'm going to go ahead, finish out the chapter. The number of men of the people of Israel, this is finished in verse 7 going into 8. The sons of Perish, 2,172. The sons of Shephthah, 372. The sons of Era, 652. The sons of Payath Moab, of the sons of Jeshua and Joab, 2,818. The sons of Elam, 1,254. The sons of Zatu, 845. The sons of Zakkai, 760. The sons of Binui, 648. The sons of Bebe, 628. The sons of Azgad, 2,322. The sons of Adonikam, 667. The sons of Bigvai, 2,067. The sons of Aden, 655. The sons of Adar of Hezekiah, 98. The sons of Hashem, 328. The sons of Bezai, 324. The sons of Hariph, 112. The sons of Gibeon, 95. The men of Bethlehem and Netapah, 188. The men of Anatoth, 128. The men of Beth Asmath, 42. The men of Kirjath Jearim, Shepharam, and Beeroth, 743. The men of Ramah and Gibeah, 621. The men of Michmas, 122. Jerry, aren't you glad I did this part? The men of Bethel and Ai, 123. The men of other Nebo, 52. The sons of the other Elam, 1,254. The sons of Haram, 320. The sons of Jericho, 345. The sons of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 721. The sons of Shenath, 3,930. The priest. The sons of Jedediah of the house of Jeshua, 973. The sons of Emer, 1,052. The sons of Pashhur, 1,247. The sons of Haram, 1,017. The Levites, verse 43. The sons of Jeshua of Kadmiel, and the sons of Hodavah, 74. The singers, the sons of Ashaph, 148. The gatekeepers, the sons of Shallum, the sons of Adar, the sons of Talmon, the sons of Akub, the sons of Hadattah, the sons of Shobai, 138. The Nethium, the sons of Zehi, the sons of Ashapha, the sons of Tabitha, the sons of Keros, the sons of Sai, the sons of Padan, the sons of Lebanah, the sons of Hagabah, the sons of Salamai, the sons of Hanan, the sons of Giddel, the sons of Gahar, the sons of Rehav, the sons of Rezin, the sons of Nekodo, the sons of Gazim, the sons of Uzzah, the sons of Pashua, the sons of Beazul, the sons of Meuim, the sons of Nephthim, the sons of Bakak, the sons of Hakupha, the sons of Hakar, the sons of Baslith, the sons of Mehida, the sons of Harsha, the sons of Barkos, the sons of Sisera, the sons of Tama, the sons of Nesia, the sons of Hadapha, the sons of Solomon's servants, the sons of Sodai, the sons of Sophereth, the sons of Perida, the sons of Jael, the sons of Darkon, the sons of Giddel, the sons of Shephanah, the sons of Hadel, the sons of Pachereth and Zebulun, the sons of Haman. All of the Nephilim and the sons of Solomon's servants were 392. And these were the ones who came up from Tel Milah, Tel Harsha, Sherab, Aden, and Immer, but they could not identify their father's house nor their lineage. That's important, verse 61. That's important. They could not identify their father's house nor their lineage, whether they were of Israel. The sons of Deliah, the sons of Tobiah, the sons of Nekoda, 642. And of the priests, the sons of Habai, the sons of Kaz, the sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called by their name. These sought their listing among those who were registered by genealogy, but it was not found. Therefore, they were excluded from the priesthood as defiled. And the governor said to them that they should not eat of the most holy things till the priest could consult with the Urim and the Thummim. Together, the whole assembly was 42,360, besides their male and female servants, of whom were 7,337. They had 245 men and women singers. Their horses were 736. Their mules were 245. Their camels were 435, and donkeys 6,770. Some of the heads of the fathers' houses gave to the work. The governor gave to the treasury 1,000 gold drachmas, 50 basins, 536 priestly garments. Some of the heads of the fathers' houses gave to the treasury of the work 20,000 gold drachmas and 2,200 silver minas. And that which the rest of the people gave was 20,000 gold drachmas, 2,000 silver minas, and 67 priestly garments. So the priest, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, some of the people, the Nephilim, and all of Israel dwelt in their cities. That's the reading of chapter 7. So, the wall's done. I don't know that that's a current rendition, but I wanted to picture the wall's finished. Nehemiah, in my estimation, can sit back and look, wow, look at where we've came. Look at all that's happened. Look at all the timber we had to get from those governors to bring up here. Look at all the army that had to protect us. Look at all that took place, and I can sit back and do that. But his work's not done. He now has to get the people back in worship mode. And I thought, man, I take for granted what we do here as worship 3 days a week. We come here on short notice. You may get called to be a song leader. Stuart, they will never ask me to do that. God said, make a joyful noise, and it's a holy racket when I lead singing. So I will never be asked to do that. Some of you, Gus, some of you in here have that ability. Ryan, some of you have that ability to do that. Tracy, you guys have that ability. It is important for Nehemiah to get them back in worship mode. They have been out. They've been exiled. They haven't been able to do that. So now he works on getting them in worship mode. So he can't do this alone. Nehemiah knows this is not a one-man job. So he has these assistants. He names his brother Hanani, and then the co-leader of Jerusalem, or as we see he's referred to in this version as the leader of the citadel. They are picked because they were faithful to God and they feared God. So if Nehemiah is going to pick people to start this worship, people to bring the group together, he has to have godly people do that. So he picks these two men to do that. Now, in listing the leadership, we looked at the wall momentarily. Mentioned in the text are gatekeepers. We've just spent all this time, we've just spent all this effort in building this a massive undertaking. We've taken all this time, now you want it protected. They've done that pretty well. They carried swords on their side while they were building the wall. and was able to complete it. So they're able to do that, but Nehemiah knows we can be lax, so he makes assignments. I need people to do this. I need guards, if you will. So the gatekeepers were the ones that were there to help guard the wall. Their instructions were very, very specific on when the gates were to be opened and closed. If there was any deviation of that, the enemy could get in. And just think about sin in our life today. When we let our guard down, when we back away for just a little bit, that's when Satan or sin can sometimes creep in. So Nehemiah has given them very specific. And when Jerry was reading it, even talked about when they close it, they need to be bolted shut. So there couldn't be a breach. The text up there, or the quote up there says, "It is said that the Great Wall of China was penetrated 4 times by the enemy, and each time it was because the guards were bribed." So they said at least 4 times. So it tells me it's probably more, but not reported, not where they could justify reporting it, but at least 4 times the Great Wall of China was breached. And in every case, it's because something was given to the guards to allow that to happen. Think about what Nehemiah has done with this group of people. A broken group of people, their spirit broken, their city broken, and he's brought them together. I mean, in a pretty short period of time. Really, right? I mean, what we've been looking at in these 7 chapters, 52 days to finish it, 52 days start it. It's been a fairly short period of time here. And he's brought these people together. Now he wants them to have a place of worship, that they can worship in peace and security. So he also lists, there's going to be a number of guards that are listed here. Nehemiah appointed 2 types of guards: those that patrolled the walls, those that literally were either on the wall or could see at any point from where they were if anybody was trying to breach the wall or a gate. And then he actually put guards at the gate. The guards at the gate would have to be somebody that knew the people. He would only let those in that needed to be in. It was, if you guys are familiar with an incident command system, something in my realm that I work in, if we have a command post, you have a checklist of everybody that's in, and then when people leave, you check everybody out. It's a checks and balances thing. Nehemiah has the mindset that I only want us in here, and if the gates are open, I need somebody to monitor to make sure the enemy doesn't come in. The enemy doesn't dress up like us. The enemy doesn't slide in when we're distracted. Nehemiah has this plan where the guards are going to be people that are going to be actually stationed at the gate. The quote up there, "If God's people don't protect what they have accomplished for the Lord, the enemy will come in and take it over." And I believe that. If God's people don't protect what they have accomplished for the Lord, the enemy will come in and take it over. And the part of the reference there, Ephesians 6:13, "and having done all to stand." Can we apply that to today? Just that statement there. Is there application for us today if God's people don't protect what they accomplish? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Yeah. And I think, Stan, that applies to exactly what we're talking about here. I look at this also as we sometimes can get a little bit complacent. I come here, yeah, I need to be here Wednesday night at 6. I need to be here Sunday morning, Sunday night. We kind of get complacent and we just go through the motion. I think Nehemiah is preparing the people. Look at all we've accomplished. But his emphasis is not on him. It was on God. Look at what all we've accomplished for God. We can now have a safe place to worship our God. That was an emphasis that Nehemiah was really wanting to get. They have some ownership in it. They've got some skin in it and lost some skin in it. Literally working. Now they've built it. They're proud of it. Let's worship God. I just jotted down a note. This is coming from my law enforcement background. Probably the first neighborhood watch right there. You guys that have your homeowner association, you got a neighborhood watch. There it is right there. Nehemiah started it in 544 BC. Now, this is not what it looked like in Nehemiah's time. I could not find a good rendition of what Nehemiah would have looked like with the guards and the watchmen at the wall. So I thought, you know what? I'll just go ahead and pick something that we can relate to in here. When the best thing I can relate on a personal level with you guys is after the Oklahoma City bombing, April in 95. That, obviously that changed a lot of things. We had to, one of my assignments that very next day was go to the airport. The airport they thought was a threat. And so there was an Oklahoma City officer, National Guard, Oklahoma County, Oklahoma City, National Guard, just that we were staggered just like this. And we were told nobody in. This is shut down. We're not letting anybody in. And that's when I got nervous, because I found out the National Guard had guns but no bullets in them. Seriously, National Guard sitting there with 9mm on their hip, and we got talking one day, and they said, "Hey, if something happens, you guys got to cover us because we don't have bullets for our gun." It's a little bit concerning. So what are you guys going to do? Throw it at them? But anyway, I wanted to bring this up to show the importance. They obviously did not have an AR-15 or a shotgun or anything like that to guard the wall. It was their eyes, and it was their sword if the enemy got in. But the spiritual application of that is we have to guard our hearts. We have to guard our minds. We have to guard what we see every day. Every day. My kids, now that I've got grandkids, now that I've got the boys, if you guys can believe this, the boys will be teenagers the end of this month. They'll be 13 on the 27th. Stan, I just went out for their birthday. They're not in earshot. Just went out for their birthday and bought them a shotgun. They want to go fit. I've just bought 2 13-year-old kids a shotgun. I'm going to go hunting with them. Just so you know, I'm going to be standing behind them. Way out in front. But I wanted to bring this up to show the seriousness of the protection of the wall. That's how Nehemiah thought, hey, I cannot let sin enter in. I cannot let the enemy enter in. We have to do this. Now, the list. It was reading that list. For those of you that want to look in Ezra, it's Ezra chapter 2, the first 64 verses. But I mentioned God's bridge. That list of names is literally the people that are going to bridge the gap from Babylon exile to where they start this new Jerusalem. So even though it may have been painful for me to read that, painful for you to hear it, boring perhaps, the past is important. And it was important for Ezra to document those names. It was important for Nehemiah to document those names. Yeah, Tracy. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Nehemiah, and this was a reference that one of the commentaries made, and I hadn't thought about this until they made this comment. Nehemiah 7 and Ezra 2 are to the Old Testament what Hebrews 11 is to the New Testament. That list of heroes that you see in Hebrews. Nehemiah and Ezra are to the Old Testament. That list right there, that genealogy is vital, important for that Jewish culture. That was imperative. Now, the next PowerPoint, this is actual breakdown. When I was reading through that, this is the actual breakdown of that group. We have the leaders that were named with Zerubbabel. And then we have the families and clans that are listed. We have people according to their villages or their cities that were listed. The temple personnel were listed separately. Then you had the priest, the Levites, the temple singers were listed, the gatekeepers, the temple servants, miscellaneous servants that served in other capacities were listed. People that could not prove their genealogy, they're number 11. Those were the people that I said there in verse 61. They couldn't prove that they belonged. And it's imperative that they weren't allowed to eat with the other group. They weren't allowed to share things. That was imperative. That's why the genealogy, the ancestry was so important to them. And I thought, why on earth did they list 736 horses, 245 mules, 435 camels, and 6,720 donkeys? Because it was important for the agriculture in that Jewish area. In Jerusalem, those animals were important to do the work that men could not. Now, Gus, I've been around animals my whole life. I know there's a little difference between donkeys and mules, but there's a difference of about 6,000 and 6,500. So I'm assuming the donkeys were probably harder workers and the mules were more stubborn. I don't know. It is. No, it is. No, and I'm glad you brought that up because that is important. You know, that it's vitally important on the investment side or the financial side, because those last 3 verses that we read, when it's talking about 1,000 drachma minute, that's significant when I get to what the amount of gold that would equate to. So that segues in. The next PowerPoint is just a slide. I thought here, obviously this is modern day picture. Whoops. It's a modern day picture, but just look at the mass of people that Nehemiah had to deal with. The mass of people that we listed there, 42,000, 73,240, or 7,300, 245 servants and all. That's a mass of people that he has to address. Now, chapter 8, we'll get into next week. Ezra brings the book and reads the laws, which is important. We'll finish up with the worship, and that's kind of where Nehemiah was making his emphasis. In verse, it's just, if individual godliness declines, the morality of the nation declines. If individual morality declines, the morality of the nation declines. The nation is what the people are. The worth of a state in the long run is the worth of the individuals composing it. Now you see why Nehemiah put importance on that genealogy and naming those people. Now you see why it was important for me to read those, because it was important to God that group of people was that bridge. People are important to God, obvious. Now, in verse 70, it talked about in one of the translations, it says drams, D-R-A-M-S. In my translation, it's drachmas, or however that's pronounced. The governor gave to the treasury 1,000 gold drachmas. 1,000 drachmas is equal to 19 pounds of gold. So there's significant value. When you're talking about investment, Gus, with the animals, look at what this tells me is, while some of them were in exile, there's a lot of people that were living wealthy. A lot of these people were living very well. So later on, about halfway down, it talked about, or there the verse 72, 20,000 gold drachmas. 20,000 drachmas is equal to 375 pounds of gold. A lot of value, and that's what they gave collectively. That is a lot of value. And I think that's significant. I'm not going to reference that to our contribution today. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But this group came together. They worked hard and built this wall. They've got this worship going now, and now they're contributing to the funds to start rebuilding within. I think that's significant. That's what we do here. We give to help others. This group gave to help rebuild. So when you look at the amount of gold just that is mentioned there, not the other monetary stuff, that's a pretty significant. The application that I use in the closing few minutes here, the application I put was, God did not send angels to do the job. He could have hocus pocus, I'm going to send 15 angels and they do this. He could have done that. Significant for us, common people, broken people, people that were defeated, were lifted up, encouraged, built up by a leader in Nehemiah, and common people did this. I think that is the application for us. It wasn't a whole group of nobles that did it. It wasn't a group of angels that God called down to rearrange this. Common people, everyday people built this wall and got to where we are in chapter 7 here. Encouragement from us, encouragement for me. I don't have to be spatial. I don't have to be a noble. I don't have to be of royalty. I don't have to have a genealogy that I probably don't want to know my genealogy, Stan. Truth known, it'd scare me. I don't have to prove that. God takes me as I am, and I still have value in the kingdom to help people. Romans chapter 14. I want to read Romans 14 as we close. Romans 14, starting in verse 7. For none of us lives to himself, and no one dies to himself. For if we live to the Lord, and if we die to the Lord. Therefore, whether we live or die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ died and rose and lived again, and he might be Lord of both the dead and the living. But why do you judge your brother? Or why do you show contempt for your brother? For we shall all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. For it is written, as I live, says the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. So then each of us shall give account of himself to God. Therefore, let us not judge one another anymore, but rather resolve this, not to put a stumbling block or cause to fall in our brother's way. I felt like that was kind of the New Testament version of what Nehemiah was telling them then. So in the next 2 weeks, I'll be doing chapters 8, 9, and 10 next week, and then 11, 12, and 13 on the 22nd, and that finishes up. Any closing comments on this evening? Anything? Jack? Right. Sure. Sure. No, thanks for bringing that up, Jack. I've got, like a lot of you in here, I've got 5 kids and 7 grandkids. What have we left them? I want them to have a legacy. I want them to have what I've enjoyed. I want them to have better than what I have. When I read those names, Jack, it was the sons of, sons of, sons of. Your and my responsibility is to train our sons, right? And so they continue that on. That was imperative for that culture. That was why this was significant to those names. That was why it was significant for Nehemiah to bring this together. Now we've got this area that we can worship. We have a building, if you want to look, we have a building that we can come in that's heated, that's air conditioned, that's safe. We actually have a guard out there, if you will. If you want to look at the guards on the wall, compare this to Nehemiah's time. We have someone that is security. We're much like what was there. We have a safe place. That's what Nehemiah wanted for his people. Thanks again, y'all. I appreciate the comments and appreciate